الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده أما بعد. Viewers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. You're welcome to another episode on Tajweed on this noble TV station, inshallah, Ummah TV. In today's episode, we will commence our discussion with looking at the position of or the rules guiding isti'adha. Isti'adha refers to the phrase or the sentence, it refers to the phrase A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. That is, the word isti'adha refers to that expression, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. In the glorious Quran, precisely in Surah 16, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala commanded us, that is Surah 16 verse 98, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala commanded us by saying that, so when you recite the Quran, you seek refuge with Allah from shaitan, the outcast. That is, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala commanded us that whenever we want to recite the Quran, we should commence or begin by reciting isti'adha, that is, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. So based on that, we are expected to commence our recitation by reciting isti'adha. And isti'adha, one thing we also need to maybe discuss about it is the versions. Do we have only one version, or we have more than one versions of the isti'adha? So there are various versions of isti'adha, but the most widely acceptable version, which tallies with the that expression in the Quran, is A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. That is, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala says, فَإِذَا قَرَأْتَ الْقُرْآنَ فَاسْتَعِذْ بِاللَّهِ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ الرَّجِيمِ. So the most widely acceptable of the versions of isti'adha, that is A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, is to say A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. But there are some other versions. Some of the versions we have A'udhu billahi as-sami'il alim minash shaitanir rajim, or A'udhu billahi al-azim minash shaitanir rajim. But the most, like I said, the most widely acceptable version and the most popular version of isti'adha is to say A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Then, after looking at what we mean by isti'adha and also discussing the versions of isti'adha, we will also need to look at the rules of isti'adha with regards to either reading it loudly or silently. Because someone may ask you that, is one supposed to recite isti'adha loudly or silently? Then one recites isti'adha loudly or silently depending on the circumstance. There are circumstances whereby silent recitation can go, and there are circumstances whereby what is expected is loud recitation. For instance, if one is reciting, if one wants to recite the Quran in a gathering where people are listening to the person, so if you are going to recite to the people, then you are expected to recite the isti'adha loudly, just the way you are also going to recite the other, the other chapters of the Quran to them loudly. So isti'adha, it becomes, mandatory upon one to recite the isti'adha loudly. And also, if one maybe is reciting in a group, maybe group recitation, whereby one is the first person to start, then in that situation, he that is initiating the recitation then recites his isti'adha loudly. And there are circumstances where, if one is alone, reciting loudly in a way that people around, though he may not have intention of reading to the people, but so long as he's sitting where people are there and he's going to recite loudly, then he's expected to also recite the isti'adha loudly.